Welcome, folks, to Reality Gurus, the show we take a conversational approach to issues through complex conversation. You know, I'm your host, G. Cleve, and listen, man, make sure you guys check out that youtube.com/Reality Guru show. Consider subscribing. We got an interesting show today. Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace, champ, was murdered 31st of March. Outside his store Marathon, and the reports are it's by an individual that he knows. You know, I got my man DB, I got Anye, I got Shay here, and you know, I want to kind of open up this conversation here because, you know, I'm sick behind this. Nipsey Hussle came into my radar back in like 2013-14. Partner of mine told about some of the music that he listened to that came from this brother. Now, you know, I'll be honest, at the time, you know, I really wasn't on that type of music, but the one thing about him at that time, you know, that I realized it was more than music with him. He was involved in a whole lot of other stuff, community stuff. And that's the stuff that started to make me pay a bit of attention to him. I had seen some videos, some interviews, some things with him when he was real young, man, probably in his early 20s. And, you know, he was talking about entrepreneurship then, talking about ownership then. We do know that, you know, to the people that, you know, care about him in the community, he was affectionately known as a neighborhood Nip. And I want to ask this question, man, you know, with all of the positivity that was coming out of his camp as of recent, you know, we know he does have a history in the gang culture, but with all of the positivity, the stuff that he was doing, the strip mall that he built, you know, on the street that, you know, he used to hustle on or he used to hang out on, I want to know, man, especially now that we know that the shooter was a black man, I want to know, you know, where are we placing the true blame on this situation here, man? I mean, I hear things about conspiracy theories and all this other stuff, but I really want to have this conversation about where are we really placing this blame? You know what I'm saying? We lost this brother here, 33 years old. We know that's too soon, especially since with the works that he was involved in. It's a real big loss. I want to know, where are we pointing fingers as far as accountability is concerned, man? I don't want to put anybody on the spot. So DB, Yay, Shay, is there any one of y'all that want to touch on this first? And give me what you think about as far as the accountability side of this, man. You know, if Nip was considered a leader in that community and he was doing some positive things, how do we let something like this happen, man? You know, does anybody want to start? You know.
Well,
no, go ahead, Yay.
I'll jump on. Yeah. At this point, I don't think we can speak with too many definites. You know, I think we should just try to put the pieces of the puzzle together and just try to figure this thing out. Because, I mean, yeah, I hear people jumping with the conspiracies. I hear people just saying, you know, that's just a part of the black community. That's the negative side of it, and those are the effects of such. But we just don't know because of the type of figure that Nipsey was, and the type of threat that he posed to so many major forces in this country. So we got to piece a lot of these parts together to really figure this thing out. I think our people need to investigate things like these and not just wait on the system or the court systems that fail us time and time again. Just hope for them to give us some fair play, a fair judgment. We got to figure this out as a community, because I'm not trying to wait for another 20, 30 years for them to tell us that, in fact, it was a conspiracy.
Yeah, DB, what you think, man? Weigh in a little bit.
Well, I'm changing my focus now. Hearing that, my thing about certain conspiracies is, like, at the end of the day, what is the effect of knowing what it is or not? This man that was doing a lot for his community is dead either way. But as far as, like, answering the original question, being that we talked earlier, I kind of was putting a focus on it. There is a lot to blame on the community. First of all, we got a direct face to it. We got the dude Eric Holder. That we can hold the direct face to it. There's a lot of things with his situation that makes me think on it on two fronts. There are two people to blame. One, him and the community a little bit more. But I can't let the police go on taking some of the blame as well. Mainly because of the fact, and maybe Jay, this kind of goes to maybe what some stuff you were saying with the Michael Cohen video, which nobody watched.
Sorry.
That about accountability of certain things of snitching, like certain people who basically are let free from their crimes, from their justifications, and put back out into the neighborhood. This was a man that was just that, who was given the opportunity to do something like this, who should have been locked away, who should have been kept away from society if the police had did their job properly. So I had to give them some of the blame as well as a community. So that's where I'm at.
Shay, what's going on, darling? How you feeling about the Nipsey Hussle situation?
It's unfortunate that we lost another black, young, prosperous young man, to gang violence. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know who the hell Nipsey Hussle was, prior to this, so I had to go and educate myself, if you will, about Nipsey Hussle, probably because I don't listen to that genre of music or what have you. But I educated myself, and me knowing about the streets as well, it's unfortunate, but sometimes, I hate to say it, I'm gonna say things that people probably not gonna like. Your past come back to haunt you.
Well, before we even get into that part of the conversation, because again, I'm not from LA, not from that culture, and I'm not gonna act like I am or know much about it other than what we've seen, heard, documentaries, this or that. So I don't know about Nipsey Hussle's past, specifically, some of the things that he's done. We do know he's involved with the gang, but as far as the details of what he's done, I don't know. So I won't even get into really any of that. I want to focus more on not so much as that past of his. Let's focus on the decision he made to build his, to purchase that strip mall and build his brand, and just I want to talk about that. Coming from this gang culture and still being able to preserve that focus of entrepreneurship, ownership, taking care of your community. That's the part that I want to focus on. I don't know anything about his, any past and a negative past. All I know is about what he was doing, and now he's gone. And I want to know, who the fuck are we blaming for this situation? That's what I want to know. Somebody. Are we going to put anybody out here? Are we going to talk about the government? Are we going to talk about the LAPD? Or are we really going to get to this conversation and talk about us, the community, the people who are supposed to embrace and protect that brother? That's what I want to know.
Like I say again, and I reiterate, and I'm, one thing I say, once I take a stance, I take a stance. You know what I mean? But unless you give me something that makes me think otherwise or change my thought process, I agree with DB with regards to dude should have been, probably still in prison. You know what I mean? Had he not been snitching. But unfortunately, that's the way the government has now set things out. You be the first one to tell, you be the one to do the less time. You understand what I'm saying to you? Or, we use you and we dog you till we can't use you and use you no more until we get rid of you and throw you out to the wolves. So, with that being said, I think that, like I said again and again and again, it's unfortunate that this young man lost his life so soon, to gun violence, and it's unfortunate. But at the same time, while he was trying to do so much for his hood and bring, businesses and things for kids and things of that nature, unfortunately, that gang violence, and it happened to be somebody that was in the gang with him. You understand what I'm saying to you? That took him out. So this is somebody that he's known for a long time, I'm assuming. You know what I mean? Based off of the gang affiliations, the fact that, what people are coming out and saying. But, it's unfortunate. I think it goes back to a show that I talked about when I said, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I said DJ Khaled said best. You know what I mean? Trust no one. Trust nobody. You know what I mean? So I just live by that. You know, and I think some people, when they get money, they forget the street code. They really do.
I don't want to say, I don't know if I want to go as far as say that he forgot the street code, rather than he probably just felt the same way I feel. We can't afford to be afraid of our own people, and if he's in that community trying to do positive, I don't think, like, look, man, when I get up and I leave the crib, you understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to do more good, than harm before I get back in the cribs. And if that's the idea that he had day in and day out, going to make sure that his businesses and stuff was taken care of, I mean, I can't, I'm not really happy about the idea of, your past catching up to you type shit, man. It's because understand something, ain't none of us perfect, right?
Absolutely.
So if ain't none of us perfect, are we all sitting here waiting for our past to come up and catch up to us? Like, is there really nothing that we can do to make amends for some of the stuff that we've done in the past? Like, do you got, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it's hard for me to be like, your past catches up to you. What was he doing before he died, before he was murdered? What was he involved in?
And Anye, I mean, you from out there, so you gotta kind of like weigh in. And I'm just reading from what I read, but to my understanding, he was there, being there for one of his peoples that came home from doing time, or whatever the case may be, which happened to be one of the victims as well. So some part of him was still part of that street. You understand what I'm saying to you? While I understand we want to say that he did so much wonderful, he did, but there was still a part of him that couldn't let that go.
And here's the thing, just to add on to that, you guys spoke on the street code. I was just listening to Nip earlier today where he spit a line where he was saying, niggas will never catch me slipping. You know what I'm saying? So while upholding one street code, which is homie, use a snitch, get the fuck from around here. You know what I'm saying? You going against the code. We can't fuck with you no more because we don't know what they using you for, what kind of information that done got up out of you. He forgot another code. I'm in the hood and I'm a target. I don't got no bodyguards on me. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So this is why some people, float toward the whole conspiracy realm. History has shown us that snitches have been used for all kinds of deeds, for the police, for the feds, for the government. This guy right here was the hood's new Tupac. You dig? This dude had innovations and plans like Marcus Garvey. Maybe we didn't see it yet, or some other people didn't see it yet, because I saw it being from LA. I think nationally a lot of people didn't see it. Globally a lot of people didn't see it. But they were about to see it. And please believe this system, Big Brother, he knew about those plans that Nipsey had. So I'm just saying we have to question everything. I'm not leaving nothing off the table.
I'm going to come back to you in a minute. D, I want to allow you to get ahead and get a little more in here. You listening?
Yeah, I'm here.
So, again, you hear Ye talking about everything being on the table, considering everything, not, when we start talking about the conspiracy side of things, especially with this situation right here, I got a little disturbed, especially since once the cameras and the videotape came out, we was able to see the shooter, right? Conspiracy theories, man. How much credence are you putting into the conspiracy theory, DB?
Me personally, not many, not much, to be honest with you. And not saying that they're not credible or not, but again, it's one of those things where, at the end of the day, it doesn't change the end result. At the end of the day, as well, this is one of those things, and because I can't think of a conspiracy theory besides maybe like Nixon and the war on drugs that really ever have a conclusion, right? At the end of the day, it really just kind of, to me, feels like it kind of muddies the whole thing that Nipsey Hussle was striving to do.
All right. Because
now we're just looking at his death. We're focused on his death and trying to figure out what it is. And there's multiple avenues that's coming that kind of, when we're talking about somebody like Nipsey Hussle who's doing so much for his community, it kind of takes away from the greatness that he was doing, if that makes any kind of sense.
No, it does. It does. It does. I will say this, man. I'm pretty sure if Nipsey was here, he'd be flattered that you guys think that his works were so important enough that the government would devise some kind of plan to try to take him out. That's pretty flattering. You understand what I'm saying? You're that important, that influential of an individual that the United States government wants to take you out. Pretty flattering. But let's go ahead and let's think about it, and let's be realistic about it. Here's my issue. And even if it's a fucking conspiracy, even if there was law enforcement with a bag behind them and they gave it to this clown, all right, to go ahead and to kill Nipsey Hussle, for me, I ain't putting the blame on the government. Nobody give it up like black people do anyway, so I'm not surprised that motherfuckers is trying to kill us. So if the government is out there doing some of the things that y'all think they doing, then let them be the ones to kill us, not one of us. How the fuck could the government give a bag to a black man to kill another black man? That's the part that's got me all fucked up. Y'all want to worry about the conspiracy, but y'all ain't paying attention to the fact that this sucker ass nigga accept the fucking contract. He accept the contract. If it's a conspiracy, this is what I want y'all to think about. If it's a conspiracy, he accepted the contract. So who you more mad at? You mad at the government? You mad at this sucker ass nigga for accepting the contract? Y'all tell me. What's more important?
Well, for me, it's not about my emotions, or how I feel about it. But the question I start to ask is, what's more beneficial to some of these clowns out here? Being loyal to the black community or the bag? Ultimately, in this day and age, money is our guide. Opportunity is a lot of our guides. Mm-hmm. So what does the black community have me to offer to not do this?
So a Nipsey Hussle. That's what the community offered. The community birthed a Nipsey Hussle who instead of taking his fucking brand and taking it to Beverly Hills or something, he did it right there in the heart of where he grew up. You understand what I'm saying? That's what the community was giving you, fool. That's what the community was giving you.
This is what great minds like ours think about. We see the long game. But these guys, they don't see that. Like the same brother that killed Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? There's so many other brothers that killed great leaders that we could have had. Leaders that could have furthered us. They didn't see how significant this person was. All they saw was an opportunity from the system, and they took it.
Well, what is he getting? What the fuck is he getting out of this shit?
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you look at the video, right? The reason why I say, like, even if you look at contract hits, right? The way he did it, it was so personal. You know what I mean? That was personal. He came, he shot him once, skipped away a little bit, came back, shot him some more, skipped away a little bit, came back, shot him in his head, and then kicked him in his head, and then ran off. So that, in of itself, to me, was more personal than it was more governmental influential. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Because the fact that he took the time to do these things, but what baffles me is that in the heart of South Central, see, I got it right, right?
Right.
In the heart of South Central on Crenshaw. Now, here's the thing. When I went to LA, right, and I went by that area is populated as fuck, right? He owns that whole entire strip mall, right? He's outside with his boy that came home from prison. Are you trying to tell me there was no hitters out there? Not one? That was able to get there, get back, get there, get back, kick them, get back, get to the alley, get in the car and drive off and nobody shoot at him.
So you saying that to say that the conspiracy lies with what?
I'm just saying, from somebody that's from the streets, right? That shit don't even sound right to me.
All right, I'm saying I want you to tell me what you deducing from it. Tell me what's the conclusion based on what you've seen. You've examined this thing, investigated.
In my head, and this is just in my head. Somebody told that nigga he was there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because my understanding is, if you take all the pieces together, as I was saying offline, and maybe this is just where my mind goes, right? That supposedly the dude was there earlier that day, right? That was one story. The dude was there earlier that day. Nipsey said something to him about being a snitch. Then another story is Nipsey was at his house, right? And his man was coming over there to get some clothes because he just came home and Nipsey just dipped out the house real quick just to go over there and give him some clothes, right? Either way, somebody had to make a notification to this dude to let him know that Nipsey was there. And Nipsey was chilling on the block. And Nipsey was there for a minute. You see what I'm saying to you? For him to feel that comfortable to park in the alley, to walk around. Because if you notice, somebody had to see him coming up. Because if you look, he had to walk through a couple of stores to get the Nipsey.
Okay, so your conspiracy is that the conspiracy theory that you're coming up with is that I guess, some other gang members facilitated this thing. I don't know. I'm waiting for you to.
Here's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is simply that I don't think that this dude did this on his own. Period. But I don't think it was the government. Far be it me to say it was the government, but far be it me to say that somebody didn't notify that dude that Nipsey Hussle was still standing.
All right, let
me say this real quick, G. I want to, because that word conspiracy, they play with it. They almost like make it a joke online. But what's real is this type of conversation that we're having right now, where ultimately I want to change it from conspiracy to we are investigating something that deals with our community, and we are trying to find answers. And on top of finding answers, we're going to take action. That's where I'm coming from with it all.
Interesting. So okay. Here's my thing, man. How do we stop this shit from happening? And I'm not talking about black on black violence, right? I'm talking about if I'm not big on the whole leadership thing, but there's a large majority of people in this country, mainly people, black people, descendants of slaves, who still feel like leadership is important in this community. So how do you stop our leaders from being killed by us, man? This is what I want to know. How do we stop our leaders from being killed by us? Screw this government stuff. By us, man. How are we supposed to stop that?
I'm gonna be fair, G. I don't even know if that's something you can stop. Honestly, man. Like, if you I don't know if you read Huey P. Newton's book. He named that book "A Revolutionary Suicide," mainly on the fact that when you put yourself in that position, especially a position for your people, you got to go into it knowing you might not live long enough to see that shit come to fruition. You know what I mean? This is the thought that goes through some of those leaders' minds when they actually put it up there.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, in my opinion, you got a right way of going by it and you got a wrong way of going by it. You got good examples and you got bad examples. Two examples I give. One example from within our community, one example from outside of our community, but both in this country, is Farrakhan. No matter how you want to feel about him or whatever, and the president of this country, they have infrastructure around them to protect them. You got to get through layers of infrastructure to get to them. Now, some people say, people got all kinds of feelings about Farrakhan, or whether he's for the people, this, that, or the third. But Farrakhan is a black leader that is still alive to this day. He has shown an example of how you protect a black leader. So until our community is serious about protecting our up and coming leaders, whether it be a Jay-Z, whether it be a Killer Mike, or people that aren't even celebrities, but the greatest minds and innovators of our community, like we protect the Farrakhan, then we just playing.
Well, I mean, the one thing with Farrakhan is because of when he came into prominence, and the fact that he was involved, I don't know, like politically. I mean, I think it's a little different. We
can't do that today. We can't do that.
It's not. I don't want to say that we can't. It's just when you think about a Farrakhan and you put him up against, let's say, a Nipsey Hussle, the thought of people is, especially with Nipsey Hussle, a lot of people tried to reduce him to just a gangbanger. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying that there was probably a lot more people who were standing in line to take the job of protecting Minister Farrakhan, as opposed to getting the gig to protect Nipsey Hussle, is what I'm saying.
You're saying basically is it more organizational? Would it be more organizational is what you mean?
Not even that, just more of okay, so y'all know my history, right? let's think about it this way. As far as protection is concerned, right? When you're talking about security, right? I'm thinking that the Louis Farrakhan detail would have been a lot less stressful than a Nipsey Hussle detail, if you understand what I'm saying. So when we talk about, when Ye brings up Louis, Minister Farrakhan, being able to survive through all of the nonsense with the security stuff, I think it was easier, if I can say that right.
I'm gonna say this because I kind of get what you're saying. I guess it's more about status and more about how many people want to.
How many people are invested in seeing that you survive as opposed to you die?
But I'm gonna say this, even on a certain level, because I did go to the last Million Man March, and I could say the level of security, how many brothers I saw in suits with fucking walkie-talkies and thing, it was drenched out. Like there was a lot of organization within the security.
They're not playing. They're not playing.
Okay, well then, since that's too big of a level, how about we just take it back down to Floyd Mayweather? Look at the type of protection he keeps around him 24/7. Anytime you see him in public, that's the thing with a lot of our rappers, that they have to learn from a scenario like this. Yes, that's the hood. Yes, you love the hood. Yes, you love the people in it. Yes, you have businesses there. Yes, you want to help those people, but you must protect yourself, because if they kill the head, the body will die. And it's a trickle-down effect, and it hurts so many more people.
But then doesn't it go back to the fact of me saying that he wasn't ready to let the streets go? Because he had one hand in doing entrepreneurship and he had one hand in doing, all these great, wonderful things. But at the same time, he still wanted to be in the hood because he wanted to be in the know. He wanted to be in the everyday life of it all. So, it kind of goes back to what you're doing is just kind of validating my point, if you will. You understand what I mean? Because granted, if he would have dealt with just dealing with his businesses and kept it on a business level, right? And kept it on a business mindset, he probably would still be alive to this day. But because he had to be part of the know and the now, and I know you a snitch, nigga, get up out of here. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because he still was part of that street code. He didn't leave that part of him behind.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. What differentiates him between other business owners, him being from that gang, and within LA gang culture, take gang out of it. This is LA family culture. Family culture. Just think about your family. Even if you had a negative type family, there's still some types. There's some type of communication you're gonna have with your family. You may only deal with them to a certain degree. And maybe that was his degree right there. Like you said, he was just taking his boy down there to get some clothes. He may not even have thought he was going to run into old dude, but he ran into old dude, and by chance, that's just what happened.
So here's my question. It's Ice Cube and what's his name? Ice Cube and Ice-T, all of them, and Snoop, all of them from the hood, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So granted, they may not be doing some of the things that he did in the hood, right? But how many times you gonna see them dudes running up in the hood? For real.
Listen,
without protection.
Shay, you gotta be careful, Shay. The thing I need you to be careful about with regard to that is because, again, and that's maybe just me, because I'm not ready. I am not ready to give up on my folks. You understand what I'm saying? I don't like the idea. And I told you, Reese. Say again.
But you said with protection.
Well, here's the thing. Again, that's just, you know why that's it's slippery, and it's ego too. It's ego generated, nonsense as well. Because I remember that, there was when Nipsey, I think he had taken a trip over to the East Coast. He had plenty of people with him. You understand what I'm saying? So I guess it just he was in his environment, folks. You understand? Yeah. You can't. I can't. That's like your deal. That's like me going back to Hillside. You understand what I'm saying? And feeling like it's like, even if there's danger, this is where I was from. It's like me going back to Soundview, and even though there's danger, this is where I'm from. I don't want to be the one, even though there's so many other racial, ethnic groups out here that claim that, we are the ones to be afraid of. I don't want to perpetuate that shit too, bro. I don't want to be the type of guy that's, fearful of my own people. I never want to be that way. So if I look at a Nipsey Hussle, I just think, honestly, if I'm putting myself in that situation, I guess I would have thought that I was doing so much for the community that no one would ever do something like this to me. You understand what I'm saying?
And the thing about it, I gotta say though, I think that's what makes his situation so powerful is that he was touching people on that personal level. I mean, what was his tag? Neighborhood Nick. You know what I mean? That was part of his branding. That was part of what made him special in this situation. That he was helping the community and he was seen by the community and seeing them help, which was why people were so touched by a lot.
Didn't go ahead. Sorry, DB. Go ahead.
Now go ahead.
No, but even when he did his documentaries, because I kind of looked at a lot of his documentaries when he walked around and all that stuff, he still had his security with him. You know what I'm saying to you? And I get it, but understand this man was making millions, right? And so therefore, at the end of the day, you're still going to have, although you're from the hood, though you're neighborhood nip, granted, wonderful, yay, you still have individuals that is still envious of you. You still have individuals that are hitters. I mean, think about, and as much as people don't want to listen to certain lyrics in certain songs, if you think about what Life said in that Stick Up Kid song, do you understand what I'm saying to you? That's how I live. I admit it. You understand what I mean? Because you got dudes in the hood that still think like that, regardless of whether you're from the hood or not.
Yeah.
And let me build off of that. I don't know if y'all heard him say it. Y'all from Troy Ave?
Yeah.
Oh Lord, let's not go there. But
no. I'm not going to dig in deep. I'm just going to piggyback off a comment that he made. That was prolific to me. He told the public that with everything that he went through and the codes that he was trying to abide by, that one thing that he learned going through the music industry and really dealing with the streets is that the streets is a myth. And I'm saying that to say that a lot of our young black boys, we follow a lot of these street codes. And a lot of this comfort that we feel in the hood because we feel that the hood is responsible for us. So the hood is going to always have our back. The hood is going to love us. If I abide by these codes, I should always be good because these are the rules and the regulations of it all. But we know that the hood ain't got no love for your ass.
But that's why I think it was very influential for him to be there. I remember I always hearing by David Banner he was talking about like this generation, why the generation doesn't fail us, because he was like, look at all of our cultural leaders. Look at the people like Common and Ice Cube and Ice-T. What happened? As soon as they got another opportunity, they jumped on the opportunity and left the music alone. They pretty much left us alone. We didn't have that streamline. I think that's what's important. I get what y'all saying, but I don't want to necessarily make it seem just because he was in the hood that he's to blame for that. If that makes sense.
I'm not saying that.
No way. Let me be very clear with this. I am in no way saying that Nipsey is to blame for his death. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Nipsey took for granted, right, that no one would do anything to him because he was a pivotal person in the hood. That's what I'm saying.
And and I want to know what in the fuck is wrong with that. So, were you saying that we the only community that can't feel comfortable about, or let's say, we?
I'm saying know your surroundings. Know your audience.
This is why I keep telling you that there's some bullshit to that too, man. Because what you doing now is right. And it's coming from you. You know what I'm saying? Melanated person. You making that judgment about your own fucking people or people that look like you is what I'm saying.
Unfortunately, G, I hate to say it this way, and you're right, I am a melanated person. I'm a person that grew up in Vanderveer. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? When the Decepticons and all that was running through Vanderveer, when you couldn't run through Front Page, because Front Page was on the front page of the newspaper every single day. And I lived it. So you're not live through it. What I'm saying to you is simply this, G. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, black on black crime is at an all-time high. You're not seeing white people killing black people as much as you're seeing black people killing black people. And unfortunately, you understand what I mean? We created that for ourselves. The white man didn't do it. We did it ourselves. And granted, it goes back to the slavery and how, if you go back to W.B. Du Bois and how he was also, turned against black people and all of this other stuff. And I get it. Do you see what I'm saying to you? But what I'm saying to you is your reality is your reality. And sometimes when people get money and they get this type of prestige or this stigma about themselves, they start feeling like they're untouchable. And I guess pretty much old boy wanted to let him know that, yo, you still can be touched.
What kind of psychotic thought process is that? You got a man here who is bringing positive stuff to your community, and because you may feel that he's forgotten where he is, it ain't like he left the hood. He was here. Because you feel like he may have forgotten that there's wolves around here, you want to prove to him that there's wolves around here. That's the psychotic thought process of the people who are coming out of our community. Shay, that's what you're saying.
Unfortunately, yes, Jay.
So then let's start talking about solutions. Then let me give one for you, because I like Ye and the way Ye told to me about, you know, some of the African cultures, about how they preserve their. We gonna get into this shit, boy. We gonna get into this shit. How they preserve their communities, the integrity of communities. They chopping off feet and they killing motherfuckers. If you doing something against what the community is, we taking care of that, and that's what we've lost. I don't even know if we've really had it to that degree. But
no, we never had it.
No, I'm gonna put it like this. I think it was more of a when it comes to like the African cultures, they have a real understanding of why they chopping this motherfucker's foot off. They know why. For us, it goes as far as the revenge part, and then it's over with.
We can't say that we never engaged in that, because I know specifically in LA, I mean, a lot of the Black Panther story, their full story gets left out. A big part of what they did was they policed our community, even amongst our own. As the documentary 41st and Central tells you, a lot of the sisters knew and would tell their man when he got out of line,
that's it.
I'm not going to call the police on you.
I'm going to the pants. That's it. That's it. It's on us. You understand? You create that kind of infrastructure in the community, and then it don't make a difference how much money a government institution or whatever it is y'all thinking, or whatever people think as far as conspiracies, don't make a difference how much money they offer. They're not gonna get one of us to kill one of us. All right? If put like this, in my opinion, if somebody was gonna kill Nipsey Hussle and it was supposed to be some conspiracy involving the government, then it should have been a motherfucker who was dressed up in blackface or something like that. Not one of us. Not one of us walking up and killing that brother. That's my problem. That's my problem.
The thing about it, and I agree with you wholeheartedly about the solution. I'm not disagreeing with you on that at all. I agree.
Chopping foots, chopping feet.
I didn't say about chopping foots. Don't put me on camera trying to incriminate me and shit.
I am.
But now what I'm saying is, like, even with the policing community, that does not necessarily mean you can't get infiltrated. And I misspoke earlier by saying that some conspiracy theories are not, it takes a long time for them to find truth, because I'm thinking about Fred Hampton. You know what I mean? That man was doing positivity. He was doing all the stuff we talking about, policing and all that shit, and he got set up by somebody that looked just like they all they need is one. All they need is one person.
That's my point. That's no matter what you put in place, all you need is one. All you need is one jealous ass motherfucker to infiltrate you. That's all you need.
So you gotta.
Yeah, this is good, G. Because I'm with you, G. I'm with you. Self accountability.
Chop a foot off, Jay.
Our own accountable. But I mean, I know y'all hate this argument when I bring it up. I feel like we can't make it happen over here, and we need to do it elsewhere.
It happens every 3 to 5 episodes.
Let me finish that. This is the reason I say this, because again, going back to accountability. What if we say offenders of our community, traitors of our community, we want to deal with them in this certain way? But the government, who is big brother over us, because remember, ultimately, we're still children in the house of America. We're still under the umbrella of America's jurisdiction. We can't deal with our own fully the way we want to deal with our own without them getting involved in our business one way or another, either, like they said, infiltrating, or them saying, you know what, you can't do somebody like that. We're going to take your whole organization down and what you guys got going on. But then again, we killing and harming each other anyway for nothing. So we might as well kill and harm each other for something, holding each other accountable.
That's one of the most profound fucking things I heard you say on this fucking show. Yeah, that's what the fuck I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Killing ourselves on some senseless shit. You might as well kill one of these fucking snitches so they can't come kill a Nipsey Hussle a week or 6 months later. You understand what I'm saying?
No, that's clear. But again, this Nipsey Hussle is very unique in the fact that everybody knew that he was a snitch. Like everybody knew. Like again,
exactly.
If you don't know who the informant is, if you don't know who that bad apple is in your community, that makes it hard to actually kill that person. If somebody infiltrates your shit, it makes it harder to kill that person.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, the whole infiltration thing. We are too trusting of, like, first of all, man, when you think about...
I'm a little confused.
Well, what happened? Let's get you back on board. What did you miss?
No, when I say I'm a little confused, because I think you missed DB's whole point. He was a known snitch, right? He was a known snitch that it was allowed to walk around.
Yeah. What was supposedly hearsay? I think he hadn't been out that long either. The snitch.
Well, here's the thing. Right, this is what I'm. But see, you know the new. Look at the. No. Look at the. But Shay, we in a different time.
That's true.
We in a time. Again, we didn't really get much traction off the Michael Cohen, but that whole, you know, the culture allowing for these informants to just inform and come out and just do what they want is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And again, people may be sitting here thinking I'm promoting murder and stuff like that. That's not what I'm promoting. I'm promoting the integrity of the community.
Amputees and shit. This is making amputees. That's about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's got to be some kind of... We already know that people say that the United States is so lenient when it comes to like discipline anyway. You understand what I'm saying? You know, they say... Well, I ain't gonna go that far, but you know, when you think about in terms of in comparison to like some nations in Africa, yeah, we're lenient. You know what I'm saying? We ain't losing feet, we ain't losing hands for some of the stuff that we would consider trivial, like a shoplifting. You know, that's a ticket here. They probably will cut your arm off in Africa behind that. We need to start adopting some of those principles. If we all going to listen. This might be the first time you hear me start adopting some Pan-Africanism shit. Is that Pan-Africanism? Is chopping the head off a motherfucker that's compromising the integrity of your community Pan-Africanism? If it is, I'm subscribing to that shit.
What's capital punishment? All it
was
I mean, it's just sick, man. I just want us to hold these people accountable, man, in our communities, man. We can't. If they're going to kill us, if someone is going to kill us, or let me just say us, a Nipsey Hussle. I'm trying to make it clear, not to say that any life is, no life is precious, but at the end of the day, man, Nipsey Hussle was doing some things, man. He was doing some things. If somebody's going to take him out, he cannot look like us. It cannot look like us and then think I'm going to focus on conspiracy theories, point fingers at the government. No, the trigger man looked like me.
So let me ask you this question, because I heard today that the person that's going to be, this is crazy. I don't know if y'all heard.
I heard it. Yes, OJ.
OJ, yeah.
So I'm asking that.
You heard the person that what? Anya, what you said?
The person that will be defending Eric Holder, the shooter, the killer of Nipsey Hussle, will be Christopher Darden, the same guy that was the prosecutor of the OJ case. So just bringing that up to say, where's our mentality as a community? I know it sounds crazy, but if the shooter was to get off.
Well, I think y'all already know what my thought process behind that is.
A lot of people don't realize when the first thing I said, and I guess maybe it's because of my profession, right? When they said that they already set the analogy, right?
Mental health.
I agree with Uba Johnson when he said they already set the analogy with the mental health by reason of mental defect or mental health and mental defect, whatever. I can't even think right now. It's like 11, 12 o'clock in the midnight.
Oh, you got it, Queen. Come on with it. Come on.
But needless to say, a couple of days prior to, he just got out the mental institution. Watch how this is going. Look where this is going at, right? When they found him, he was trying to check himself back into the mental institution. So he was already setting up his defense long before this shooting happened. So believe it or not, whether people don't want to hear it or not, that mental health shit is real. And a lot of people
look. See,
and his defense is going to fight on that. His defense is going to fight on that premise.
I'm not saying that he was. I am not saying that.
What you saying then? If you're not saying that, then tell me what you saying then. Before I say something and it's directed to something that you not saying. Make sure you let me know what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that is the defense that he is going to go with, and unfortunately, because of the American society in which we live in, right? They are going to eat at it. Only because they are now so focused on mental health and mental illness, because it has touched into the white neighborhood so much, right? That they are allowing that mental health, mental illness to be a defense now.
Well,
whether we want to hear it or not.
It ain't about that.
And what's the real penalty for killing somebody black anyway? You expected him to get 50 years in jail, life in jail for that?
See, here's the thing. My whole thing, he shouldn't even be in custody. You understand what I'm saying? This is not.
Talk about it.
This was not. This. All right. So, see, I don't like doing those whole
bullshit. Talk about it, G. What should be going on right now?
Huh?
Here's the thing.
How the hell was he able to go skip his ass down into the alley and get in that car and drive off?
Here's my thing. Daz has been reported as saying some real questionable stuff about, suggesting that this guy, this lame, hopefully the cops catch you before we do. Like, now, I get the impression that Daz comes from a different school of thought. And it's just interesting that, as times have changed, technology has changed, and people are looking for ways to stay relevant. I don't know why he would jump on because that sounds like a lot like a clout chasing thing, man. Like he was looking for the attention. Like, I don't know what gangbangers jump on social media or anything and say, hopefully the cops catch you before we do.
Not none.
First of all, I don't want the cops to catch you. Why would I even say anything like that? It's just weird. So my thing is, I'm not even talking. It's nothing about custody. Cops should have never been able to find him. None of that. This was supposed to be
that goes back to at the beginning of the show. How the fuck was he able to skip his little ass to that car and get that car?
Because you know what? Because everybody who probably
20 minutes from where he got shot.
Just because everybody, I'm gonna tell you how. Because everybody who could have either put hands and feet on him probably had a cell phone with the camera on in their fucking hand. That's probably what it was.
Here's the thing that I point to in every episode, and I'm gonna keep beating it in y'all heads until we are an unstructured community. We have no structure. And I'm saying that to say, okay, we think, this is a gang neighborhood. The shooters is out. The shooters is ready to go. Nah. It's still hold on. It's still a regular neighborhood. If it's in the morning, the gangsters is asleep. If it's in the afternoon, they might be at the liquor store. They might be chilling, playing PlayStation. They ain't standing around like the FOI, ready for it to go down in each and every moment of the day, or putting a different line out in front, saying, you know what, okay, this group's gonna take a break now. Y'all go man this area. Man, these is niggas in their environment chilling. And unless if it's specifically wartime, they chilling in their environment. So shit can happen on their.
Can I ask a question though? Can I ask a question? What is his? Because I mean, the man was young, right? And from a young age, you could see that he had some kind of mentorship, because the level of education that he had, or the mindset that he had to have somebody that was teaching him somewhere, somehow. That was giving him the books and whatever else. Especially that area, I would imagine there is so, because that I remember they mentioned Starshin and all that stuff. That surrounded the birth of the Black Panthers and all that stuff, right? Around that area.
Slauson, yes,
Where
sir. Yes, sir.
where it makes me think there should be slightly more organization, at least on his aspect. I think this probably goes back to what y'all was saying earlier about him forming protection around him, like a better protection. When you have this level of education, these elders, there had to be some elders in front of him that would protect him or would have a better.
But see, okay, here's the thing. I think Shay alluded to it earlier in the episode about the documentary that usually he has security with him. It's just this one instance he took it upon himself to go on his own because, again, the comfort level, how you feel. This is your community. If I can't go anywhere in the world by myself for just a moment, why can't I go back to my hood, back to my business, back to my establishment for just a moment? Because it feels comfortable. But when we become leaders, we got to understand the responsibility that we hold to the community, to the people, to the future of the people, and to the children, that we can't afford to misstep even that much. I never, and I'm not blaming Nipsey, God rest his soul and power, it's love. I never see Floyd Mayweather by himself. And Floyd Mayweather ain't no black leader by any extent to the word. But he's never caught slipping by himself.
Jay-Z not either. When Jay-Z go to Marcy, he's not going out there and say, hey, guess what? I'm in Marcy. I should feel comfortable because I'm from the hood and I hand out turkeys all the time.
Let's be honest, though. Let's be honest.
He's not going.
You talking about two different types of black people. You understand what I'm saying? Jay-Z and Mayweather, they grabbed their riches, they found their security, and that's no knock on them, but they weren't doing anything on the level of a Nipsey Hussle, because Nipsey built some shit on the block that he used to hang out on. Jay-Z ain't do that. Mayweather ain't do that. Matter of fact, as far as Mayweather is concerned, I mean, I'm not even sure if he identifies with any, communities, any hood communities nowadays. This is no knock. Listen, you got, you get in this country, it's capitalistic society, you make your money, do what you do, take care of your family, right? I'm not counting nobody's pockets, and I have a problem with that. But when you're going to compare them to, like a Nipsey, and this is crazy because I don't even identify with Nipsey as much as people in that community do, but I know right now that there's a reason I got to stand up for this situation and what that brother was doing. You understand? I can't sleep. I couldn't sleep unless we had this conversation to talk about this. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna disagree with you just a little bit as far as the organization, because we're talking about Bloods and Crips here. You can't tell me that these two gangs was able to spread the way they spread. This shit is mainstream now, right? It's mainstream now. You can't. I can't believe that there wasn't some kind of organization. What I'm thinking is just there's some greed that probably got inside of it. The agenda wasn't all clear amongst all parties and stuff, and that allows for shit like this, the politics to get involved with things. I don't know the circumstances, really the details about why he was murdered, but I'm gonna tell you this, man. The cops shouldn't be this kid should not be in custody, but the cops, and even if he does get off, man, he should never be able to be allowed to walk in that hood anymore. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, fine.
He won't be. He won't.
And that's what I'm saying. If all right, so now he's in custody, whatever. You maybe your life could be preserved as long as you don't come back over here. But I'm just saying, looking forward, how do we prevent one of these superstars, from being murdered senselessly by one of us?
Unfortunately, there's no answer to
it. It is. Like I said, we need to start cutting off some fucking feet. We need to start. That's what we need to do. See, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. That's what, and you don't need the permission of no police force to do any of that. Shay,
let me ask
you answer me something.
In the process of me, doing this thing, because like I said at the top of the show, I didn't know Nipsey Hussle prior to the situation, but to my understanding, 2 days prior to him getting killed, right? They feared for his safety when he was doing the video shoot with John Legend and DJ Khaled in the parking structure. And they wanted to clear the whole parking structure, but they didn't. The other cars was allowed to park underneath, and they did the top 2 floors. So apparently there was something that's been going on for a little while, for the mere fact that just 2 days prior, they feared for his safety. They feared someone was going to attack him. So my thing is, this is something that
where'd that come from, though? How much of that information do you have, as far as, like, you know, they were fearful for his life from who? Where were the threats coming from? You understand what I'm saying?
And from what I've read, and again, this is only what I read. You understand? They didn't really go into specifics. It was just simply that they were fearful of his life then, and they had extra security then when Nipsey Hussle came, because when they did the video shoot with DJ Khaled and John Legend, and that was the situation then. So again, like I said, this is only what I read. I don't know for sure to be true, but that's what's out there.
Let me ask this question though, because we're making it out to be a very complex scenario, and true indeed it could be, or maybe it might be a real simple situation to where it's an anomaly of the rule, the exception to the rule, meaning, you know, like I said, we only see him with security. Maybe it just literally was that one time where he slid away from security and he just happened to run into some street beef.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. That right there would suck, bro.
I said that. I said he supposedly left his house and his past came back on him.
If that oh, sorry about that.
I don't want to agree with that. That's the truth, man.
What if his bodyguard is sitting back, like, you know, like I said earlier, whoa, when you leave the house, you let me know beforehand, I'll meet you at your house, but he just left without me. And damn, look what happened. So again, yeah, we're blaming his neighborhood, the people in general for not protecting him, but you know,
he didn't himself.
It could be said that way with respect to his name and the situation. Absolutely. It could be that. It could be that. It could be that. Well,
folks, I tell you, man, let's go ahead and grab a little bit of these final thoughts and stuff, man. A little interesting conversation we had about Nipsey Hussle. DB, man, give me your final thoughts on this situation here, man.
All right, so real quick, and I'm gonna try to make it quick. It's a long story. I'm gonna be long-winded. Excuse me, but basically, the reason I thought about the snitches, because I was recently listening to a podcast about this dude named Curtis Flowers, who was this guy who basically got prosecuted 6 times, mainly because every time he got overturned, the DA would try him again, and he constantly had to go through the system where he's always in jail because he will always get prosecuted. When you hear a lot of the evidence is kind of choppy. So the one thing that they hold on to is this one informant who was a jailhouse informant. The jailhouse informant was always in jail, but basically he always got off. Why? Because he was snitched to the government. He was snitched to the police, and be able to get off. So one day he decided to kill his girlfriend, almost killed a kid, went around, shot a couple other people, and killed all these people. The thing about this is that there is a lot of shit to this system that is fucking us up more. This is why I thought about the whole snitching aspect, and I think there's a lot of people to hold accountable. But the way this system is working, the way that this is happening, it's hard for me to describe. I know it's a bad final thought, but it's hard for me to describe because there's so much with that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna touch on that snitching thing in my final part, but I'm gonna let Ye go ahead and finish up, man. What you got for us, Chint?
Well, as I said before, we should question everything. I want our community to be thinkers, not just functioning off of emotion and rage, but be thinkers. Most of our black leaders, damn near all of them, have died, and we found out down the line it was some kind of conspiracy from COINTELPRO, the FBI, or whatever. So it's not too far-fetched to think that this was that. That was a powerful brother right there. You know, he was a triple threat. You know, we had it all. This was our generation's pop. This was Marcus Garvey all over again. You know, from the cryptocurrency that he was trying to develop. They say the brother met with the president of Eritrea some time ago to develop plans. He was a day away from meeting with the LAPD to help continue to unify the gangs and to stop the street violence. He had met with an OG from Inglewood families to do the same thing, to unify these gangs. He was teaching the hood how to combat gentrification. He was going to build an affordable housing project in his own neighborhood. He had a stem cell project in his neighborhood for the kids. His store was one of the first, from my understanding, fully interactive smart stores. The documentary that he was putting together with Dr. Sabi, his overall independent grind in the rap game, showing rappers that you don't got to run to these majors. And if you do sit down with these majors, you have to sit down at the table with them like a boss and tell these men, hey, I'm not just signing away everything, but we can partner up and do business. So we got to give major props to that brother. But I want to pay my respects to everyone that has lost their lives to all of this gang violence, not just the famous ones. All of my brothers on the red side, my brothers on the blue side, from the West Coast to New York, everywhere. The shit got to stop. It got to stop. It got to stop. And we as a community need to gain some type of structure. When things happen in our community, we need to investigate. We need to hold court. We need to hold motherfuckers accountable. Stop waiting on the system, because they ain't never going to give us the answer that we want.
Yeah, man. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Shay, you going to follow that?
Hey, listen, I reiterate some of the things that Anya just said. You know, each one teach one. You know, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. I just hope somebody pick up that torch and run with it. You know, they said his brother is something that, you know, his brother is very, very, very educated and things of that nature. I just hope that he don't let his legacy die and let his legacy just be all about that gang life. You know, love each other, be there for each other, but know when you know.
Well, folks, listen, man. It's a message out to you know, all of us, man. I think we all have a responsibility in this thing here. You know, for the stuff that we allow to go on in our communities unchecked, and then later on this thing festers and turns into something tragic like this. Again, man, I'm with this, you know, the African cultures where it's time to preserve the way of living in this community. I mean, you know, you got motherfuckers in here that snitches. You know, if they're willing to do that, I mean, again, I don't want to sound like I'm promoting people just being murdered, but listen, man, if it's about the integrity of the community, man, something has to be done. A foot, a hand, an arm, and then let the cops do their job and investigate and find out who the hell is responsible. But folks, decent show, man. You know, I don't want to get too excited over it because, you know, Brother Nip, you know, he's not here. Again, rest easy, champ. Just wanted to make sure we touched on this because I feel like, you know, our communities are accountable for stuff like this, especially when, you know, the trigger man is black. Forget about the conspiracies in my mind. If the individual who's putting the bag behind something like this, somebody who look like us, don't need to take the contract. If they're going to kill us, let them do it. You know, not us. But folks, you know, we had a decent show. I got my man DB. Got my man Anye. First Lady, the Guru Shay. Glad you were here with us this evening. Folks, make sure y'all check out that youtube.com/reality guru show. Consider subscribing. And if you learn like my girl learned, make sure you hit that notification button so you get all of those good contents, man. IG Clee, Reality Gurus. Take care.